What's the dumbest thing you did as a teenager? I put Vicks VapoRub in my eyes to irritate them so they'd get bloodshot and make me look like I was high. I was an idiot. Florida teenager filming himself driving like an idiot gets into car accident involving 4 other vehicles. He's seriously injured. And while in the hospital, he uploads the video of him crashing to YouTube, which helps police arrest him for reckless driving. My friends and I used to steal those orange construction barrels from random work sites. We would take them and line them up across random roads at night to hold up traffic and be typical asshole teenagers. One night we decided to dress up in different costumes and watch the cars line up while hiding in a nearby bush. I was in a Scooby-Doo suit and my friends were all dressed up as various Justice League superheroes. The first car that pulled up to the line of construction barrels was a cop. He threw on his lights and aimed them straight at the bush we were hiding in. All of a sudden we all darted out of the bush in different directions. This cop was watching Scooby-Doo and the Justice League scatter out of the bushes like a bunch of illegals running from the border patrol. I got caught shoplifting a $1.99 glow-in-the-dark Dunkin' Yo-Yo when I was 15 and the store pressed charges. Ended up having to do 10 hours of community service and write a 3-page essay on why stealing is wrong. Man. My whole family laughed at me so hard. I used a 3-man slingshot to blast an orange at a girl's house. It went through the window. I jumped off a cliff because a girl dared me. The power of the female dare is shockingly intoxicating. Mix that with being a teenager and we don't have a hope in hell of being smart. I got suspended for repeatedly calling my teacher Squidward, and when he got annoyed I started doing the SpongeBob laugh. When I used a China-made grappling hook from Amazon to climb an abandoned factory that was shut down for its chemical wastes. Let me clarify. When I attempted to use a Chinese-made grappling hook to climb a building, I ended up with a broken clavicle, sprained legs, and a hole in my shoulder. After her father won an age discrimination case, a teenager posted on Facebook all about how the family was going to spend the money, which violated the non-disclosure terms. She cost her dad $80,000. When I was 13, a friend and I met an adult woman in real life that we had met online, hoping for sex. It ended with us being chased out of a trailer park by 3 men with a baseball bat and no sex. Tell me more. Tell me more. Was it love at first sight? Exclamation point. I came to school drunk. I used to be very shy. Drinking made me extrovert, which made me feel better about myself. I drank way too much and threw up in class. The guy next to me had vomit all over his t-shirt. It was so bad I passed out and I woke up in a hospital. Back when you didn't need a passport to drive into Canada, I wanted to go into Windsor with my friends since the drinking age there is 19. Couldn't find a copy of my birth certificate anywhere. Decided to scan and edit my brother's since it's similar. Just had to change name, SX, and 1 digit of the birth year and date. I am incredibly lucky they only gave it a fast once over at the border and that I didn't end up in huge legal trouble. Without a doubt the stupidest thing I've ever done. I isolated myself in my room, stopped hanging out with friends, and gave up my entire social life. All for my internet girlfriend. This shitty lasted for over a year. Took 5 or 6 muscle relaxants. Don't remember going to sleep. Woke up in the middle of the night and could barely lift an arm. Had chest pain. Went back to sleep almost immediately. But I had the sudden thought of, is this it? Luckily it wasn't. Hotboxed my closet. Mum walked into me masturbating with a bag of Doritos next to me. Your definition of a hotbox is different than most people's, I'd say. Masturbated 37 times in a row trying to reach 50. Ended up raw, in pain, sticky, and couldn't touch myself for a month because of scabbing. I hurt myself with a stapler on a dare. I did that like last week. Believe that the guy would trim my full room when I traded him it. Got pissed up at a party and danced on the dude's car that was being a CNT to the chick I liked. Needed a new roof and bonnet repair. Uacutans 2000 as a 16-year-old is a lot of money. Uacutans 2000 as an adult is a lot of money. I left a vulgar voicemail for an arch enemy and name called his mother, while my sister yelled out my name right before I hung up the phone. What happened? Ontario teenager throws massive party inside his parents' still under construction 5,000 square foot home, which led to $70,000 worth of damage. Well, I'm only 19 now, could set the bar. Any suggestions? Edit. Should mention I'm in the UK, so a lot of this Mexico smuggling stuff, while sounding fun, I sadly cannot do. 1. Buy 6 kilograms of Coca-Cola. 2. Drive to Mexico. 3. Buy a lot of watermelons. Or any other medium-sized object, like maybe teddy bears. 4. Hide the cans, or bottles, in the melons bears. 5. When crossing the border from Mexico to the US, visibly keep a few boxes of 9mm ammunition, just the boxes, no actual ammo, on your dashboard, and have someone call you. Loudly proclaim that you are shipping 6 kilos of coke across the border, and that they're in the watermelons bears in the trunk. If this isn't the stupidest thing anyone has done, then I don't know what is. I don't recommend doing this because you will likely get arrested. Shoplifting. Got caught when I was 17 and it scared the shit out of me. Haven't even thought of doing it since. Also, DXM. Pretty sure that F-ked me up for life. One time I drank a whole bottle of cough syrup in the grocery store bathroom to see what would happen. Security was waiting for me when I left the bathroom. I spent the next hour handcuffed to a chair and hallucinating, with the security guards just laughing at me the whole time. They let me go and said what happened was punishment enough. Stole a car whilst extremely intoxicated, then proceeded to play bumper cars trying to get it out the car park. I wrecked 5 cars and got arrested for aggravated vehicle taking, drink driving, and criminal damage. I was extremely lucky not to get a prison sentence. My brother was driving me to the first big exam of my life. I was really thirsty and had forgotten a bottle of water. Thankfully I found a bottle of Coke under the seat and started chugging it. My friends and I bought a live lobster, put it on a leash, and took it on a 5-mile walk at 3 AM. Nice try, Dad. You ain't getting anything out of me. I doled out 200 milligrams caffeine capsules to 10-year-olds. The school found out. They were not happy. I took off my clothes, tied my ankles together and tied them to a rope around my neck. Then tied my wrists behind my back and jerked off. As I came, I decided it would be a good idea to throw myself forwards on the bed. This led, and surprisingly, to my legs pulling the rope around my neck tight. At which point I realized I had made a potentially foolish mistake. Fortunately, my idiocy extended to my knot tying skills and I freed myself before my mother had to discover my naked, bound, jizz-coated corpse. Many years later, my professional occupation included work on population death statistics, and a room full of very educated people had a discussion of a little known but substantial cause of teenage death: autoerotic asphyxiation. I did not bring up my personal expertise in the subject. Edit. Never have so many been interested in my masturbatory practice. Let's just say if you tie your own hands behind your back, you're not likely to do a very good job of it. How in the hell did you jerk off with your wrists tied behind your back? Dated a 21-year when I was 16. I'm 22 now. And he's still dating high schoolers. Bought NFL jerseys and matching shoes. Shooting up heroin. And continuing to shoot up heroin until I couldn't stop on my own. Edit. Thank you so much everyone for the kind words and support. I'm 4 months sober as of yesterday. I just wanted to shout out to our Opatis Recovery and anyone struggling with addiction, come hang out. We can support you as long as you help yourself. And if you have any questions, feel free to PM me. Thanks again so much guys. Senior year of high school, we had an older teacher that would have everyone use fake names for papers to avoid preferential treatment. He was a nice guy but could be a little clueless. The last paper of the year I decided I'd use the name Hayward Jablone. I thought it would be hilarious and he wouldn't notice. He noticed, and getting hollered at in the hallway for 10 minutes was less than hilarious. When I was 16 and trying to impress my girlfriend, I decided it would be a fine idea to drive my car on train tracks. And not just any train tracks. Train tracks into a train tunnel. At night, we got through the tunnel and realized that it was probably a good idea to turn around. But we got stuck on the tracks. High centered. We'll just jump out and push it off. No dice. It was really stuck. About then we heard the train horn. It was far enough away. But we were scared shitless. We all jumped out. 5 of us. And started pushing and shoving with all our might. The train rounded the bend and started blaring its horn. The conductor waving his hands to get us off the tracks. I was finally able to get it unstuck with all the pushing and spinning tires. We all breathed a sigh of relief as I jumped back in the car and I drove as fast as possible back through the tunnel and onto the main road. Stupid kid sh*t. My god. I had a bottle of Everclear in my closet. Stupid. Let my stupid BF at the time drink it before we were supposed to stand in my friend's quinceanera. By the time we left my house he was gone. We got to the party and he couldn't even stand himself up or lift up his head. He went to ER for alcohol poisoning. My dad slapped me that night. I hate thinking about that. NSFW. When I was about 12 and starting to get into PRN, I discovered the blowjob. The act appeared appealing to my innocent mind of 8 years ago. But there was one problem. I was single. Naturally, I decided that there was only one solution. To try and suck my own cock. About 3 minutes later, and a lot of straining and trying real hard, I felt a sharp tug in the back of my neck which caused me a lot of pain. One trip to A&E confirmed that I had, in fact, sprained my neck in an attempt to give myself a blowjob. Drive drunk and or stoned. I regret that so much. I definitely wasn't bright in high school. I would even hotbox while driving. Now, I'm 29. Quit weed 4-5 years ago. And I hate to drive even if I drank just 1 or 2 beers. And always make sure I have a designated driver if I am going to drink watching the games at a bar. Even have 3 business cards to 3 different taxi companies in my wallet just in case my designated driver can't drive or pick me up. Play it safe. Drink maturely and responsibly. We had to move my grandma into assisted living when I was maybe 16. And my dad asked me if I wanted her old but gently used Cadillac. I said no because my 15-year-old Pontiac Grand Am was cooler to me. Around 2004-ish, I used to meet guys online. Then plan real-life meetups. Always slept with them the first, sometimes only, time we met. All of these guys were at least 23 and I'm sure were just fulfilling some fantasy about banging a 16-17-year-old. Because I was fat and wasn't particularly interesting. I'm just lucky that I didn't end up knocked up with an STD. Or dead. My self-esteem is at least a bit better now. Cycle off the top of a half pipe in a summer dress while drunk. I remember sitting on the kitchen side after that with mum trying to pick the gravel out the cut and dad swearing and yelling I'm not paying for a new front wheel. From southeastern Alfalgar border. Swam alligator infested waters with a baseball bat. Caught 6-foot alligator after seeing him floating in the water between us with the spotlight. Tied him up. Took him home. Laid him on my dad while he was sleeping. Fed hot dogs and would go fishing and give him fish. He went to live with a friend and a few weeks later he got out while out in a plastic swimming pool chicken wire. Saw the cops trying to corral him down the street. Never told anyone. In middle school, our building closed down for renovation, so they split the entire student body into 2 different schools temporarily. There was a girl I was into from other school, so one day instead of walking to school I took the other school's bus instead. I pretended to be a new student and this meant finding subs all day I could hide out in. Also spend probably a total of 3 hours in different bathrooms. I did this for 2 days. Then just went back to my school the following day. My school had the wrong number, so my folks never found out. It was pretty legendary at the time. But now I look back and laugh at my stupidity. When I turned 21 I had an extremely attractive female friend take me out for drinks. I hadn't eaten that day and after the first drink I was feeling it. I got pretty drunk. And she invited me back to her place for the night. For reasons I still don't understand that. I declined. And drive the 25 miles back to my place in the neighboring town. Driving drunk. And turning down a beautiful woman. FCK, I'm retro dead. There was this girl in my science class in high school that had some pills called hydro something IDK, but yeah, she offered me some and I was zoned out pretty hard. I felt good until like 3rd period and I ended up puking in the hallway trash can. It was when swine flu was popular, so everybody thought I had it and I went home lol. Smoked for a while after my best friend killed himself. I used it as a way to escape my problems. My grades fell and I was alone. After a bit, I realized that I had to face my problems instead of running away from them and that I had a lot of work cut out for myself. I fell in love. A lot. I helped set a roll of 16,000 firecrackers off in a friend's ex's yard. It was 1 AM and they were supposedly gone for the weekend. They showed up while we were lighting them and saw us drive away. We obviously got caught and they told us the roll went off for almost 30 minutes and that wasn't the entire roll. The debris filled up 2 trash cans. We weren't charged with anything but had to apologize to everyone on that block. Most people didn't care. Except the people that we did it to. One neighbor was a Vietnam veteran and this sent him into a flashback and he went out to his backyard and started digging a foxhole. I felt bad about that one. I snorted a handful of Ajax powder cleanser to prove to my friend you couldn't get high off it. I was blind for 15 minutes and burned my nasal passages and throat. Damn Cheech and Chong movie. Up in Smoke was the cause of that whole predicament. As a young college student, 19, the house decided that the night's drinking activity was beer staffs. Well, after about 40 milligrams of Addy and about 13 drinks I ended up swimming across the Mississippi River and walked over the half-mile-long bridge in nothing but my boxers and proceeded to get stopped by the police officer to blow a 18. Keep in mind that this was about 2 hours after I stopped drinking and about an hour since I left my clothes at that dock. At my first job working at a movie theater we had a new manager that everyone hated. She would always have us doing some mundane task. One time she made us clean the cup holders in one of the auditoriums, and she would boss us around with this fake smile on her face. So one night she was being very obnoxious to the point where I was so aggravated that I pissed on her car after I got off while 3 other co-workers watched. I'm pretty sure she never found out I did it. In hindsight, I don't think she was as bad as we made her out to be. Whenever I think back to it I feel like a jackass. Cleaning the cuff holders out doesn't really seem mundane at a theater. One time she made us clean the cup holders in one of the auditoriums. So she made you do your job. Went to prom. Honestly, it wasn't the fact that I went that I regret. I went with a friend and pulling up in her biker cowboy dad semi with classic rock blaring out the cab was my most badass high school moment. It's the fact that I was and still am not a party person. Had to get dragged to the dance floor. And another friend of mine even lent me her date to dance with, which, in retrospect, seems like a really sad pity thing. I blushed a lot. Danced like an idiot for all of 2 seconds because how the hell would I know what to do, and then ran right back to the dinner table to hide for most of the rest of the night. Yeah. That was something. I was so soft, passive and naive as a teen. I want to say that I was 17ish. I gave a ride to the same guys that drugged me on the same day of the drugging. I was too nice. I also got tricked into having relations with a guy. Guy told me that I got him hard while we were just sitting around probably watching TV. I was like, oh. Then he told me that we had to have sex. I told him that I didn't want to. He told me that he would then get blue balls and it would hurt extremely bad and it would be all my fault. I really had to help him. I felt so bad that I was going to cause him pain. I didn't wish pain on anyone, so I had sex with him. My teeny brain was damaged. I'm a semi-regular adult at 26 right now. No longer tricked into having sex and no longer having sex. I'm so lonely. Edit. How'd I get downvoted for answering the question? Jeez. Also, a pronoun.